Hey guys, it's me, Austin Space, and I just got done playing Ape Escape. This game right here. Ape Escape. Okay, so I popped in Ape Escape about a month or so ago, and I'm like kind of pumped for it a little bit. It has everything that I should love in a game. It's presented as a 3D platformer. I love 3D platformers. It's natural to the PS1. It's a Sony IP. I love Sony IP. So now we have the best of both worlds for me, right? I grew up with the likes of Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, and this, I guess, is part of that trifecta that eluded me, maybe besides Medieval. Now, we had this game, this very precise one right here, as when I was growing up. This is actually my brother's copy, and we kept it. And I kept it. I basically stole it from him. And the one thing I remember about this game is my brother was playing it, and and I guess Spike died. I guess he got hit by something and lost a life. And sometimes when Spike dies, he like spins around and goes, "This bites," and and my mom didn't really like that very much. So she's like, "What is this? This bites? I don't like that. The game is rated E for everyone." So anyway, so that's all the knowledge really I had of it. I understand its legacy and how much of an icon it was. Spike shows up in PlayStation All-Stars, all this stuff, you know? So finally, I get around to playing Ape Escape 1 this year. So it's set up in a way that's like, wow, this game should be for me, right? This game is set up for somebody like me to enjoy. And I jump in the game, and I'm liking it. So the intro cutscene plays, right? And I'll give you a little quick background on the story. It's a little goofy. You play as this boy named Spike. He's racing to the professor's lab with his friend named Jake, who's also 10 years old. And they're excited because the professor is looking to finish up his time machine. Now, the professor is a 60-year-old man. So I don't know how this relationship started, but it did. Okay, so they're running to see their old man friend, the professor, who works at a lab by this amusement park. And they get there and they realize the professor and his daughter, sorry, not daughter, his granddaughter slash assistant, Natalie, are being tied up, and apes have overrun the entire lab. Okay? So then, in the chaos, they get thrown back in time. So the professor basically says what happened was that this evil ape named Spectre, who's this white albino-looking ape thing, he put on this magical helmet that he created that made him super smart. The professor created this super smart helmet, and somehow one of the apes got a hold of it and became super smart, and then realized, hey, apes should not be the inferior species. They should be the superior species. So I'm going to round up an army of apes, make a bunch of helmets myself, and then like go back in time and change the course of time so that apes become the predominant species. That's the plot of Ape Escape. It's great. So as Spike, you have to go around to different time periods, different levels, and capture apes with the net. But this is ridiculous, you know? I mean, this is an absurd plot, and I love it, okay? There's parts of the game that are just really bonkers, and it just doesn't, it's not that great. I think the thing that it falls short of a little bit is the voice acting and the writing, you know? And I wasn't expecting, like, this, you know, great game of the year writing or anything like that, you know, with its twists and turns. I mean, it's so basic and not that great, but the voice acting doesn't help either. So it's a mixture of those things, you know? And because of that, you don't really care about these characters. Like, they're all kind of flat. It's lame. Oh, and by the way, like, Jake, your best friend, gets brainwashed by this monkey, so he becomes this flat bad guy who's your rival. I don't know. It's not very good. Anyway, so you're thrust into the prehistoric times. That's where you start, okay, as you would. And you start going about each level. This is where the gameplay comes in. So you go about each level, and you have a requirement to catch a number of apes in each level. Sometimes it involves solving a puzzle. Sometimes it involves sneaking up on an ape when he's not looking. Sometimes it's like, how do I get to that area? And you might have to, the puzzle is figuring out a way to get there. Or sometimes you have to leave a part of the map and then re-enter it from a different angle, and then you're in there and you can capture the ape. And that is where this game thrives. So, in a way, it's presented as a 3D platformer, but it's really not. The game is more rewarding as an exploration game. There's also a few other optional things you can do. There's Spectre coins you can get in the level, which is just a collectible that allows unlocks mini games. I unlocked all of those. You can also re-enter levels after you 100% it, after you get all the apes, and do a time trial in that level. I didn't bother with that because I'm not a big time trial fan, and it wasn't required to get the second ending. So I was like, not gonna do that. Neither was the Spectre coin. But what was required was getting all the apes. And in order to get all the apes, you have to basically, along the way, the professor will give you some gadgets. Okay, so you get these gadgets, and they unlock different abilities. So there's one of allows you to is a slingshot, allows you to hit buttons from a distance. One is this sky flyer thing. This green thing that lets you hover, so you can so you can reach higher distances, and then you can like land softly and stuff like that. So, or make a big jump and land there. Then there's other ones. There's an RC car, which are like, so this all sounds great, right? So it's like, oh man, this is great. You go around, capture apes, get this abilities, new things coming at you. Oh, it's great, it's fun. And but this is where the game, and I don't know how people are going to react to this, but the controls. Now, people who understand PlayStation realize Ape Escape was a game that was basically made where you would like, it was basically, the control scheme was based off of the new DualShock, the one we know sort of today. So the Japan studio that made this, Sony Computer Entertainment Japan, so they made this game and they were like, oh cool, this is the presentation that's given to us, let's make the whole game design based off of this new controller. And they got some parts right, some parts kind of cool, and some parts that just are frustrating. That's how I see it. I understand it was 1999. I don't know. I don't know if it holds up. The left analog stick controls your character, right? So you're just going through, control your character normal. The camera is controlled by the directional pad, not the right analog stick like we're used to. So you have to kind of stop if you want to see your surroundings. L2 gives you a zoom-in mode, so you can do that to control the camera. And L1 automatically centers behind Spike, your main character, so that can control the character. It's frustrating. It's okay. It works okay, but it sucks when you're like running through a level. You're constantly tapping L1 so you can see where you're going. And I found myself doing that, often. The R1 button and R2 buttons are used to jump, not X. So that's a weird thing. That actually doesn't work. Doesn't sound as bad as it is. It works okay. I don't love it, but it's fine. And the face buttons are used for your gadgets. And you can map any button to any gadget at any time. So you'll end up getting 8 gadgets. You can swap them in with any face button you want. And then in order to use the gadget, you use the right stick. So if you have the time net, you have to flick the net in the direction of the ape at the right time. So it'll go in any direction. Some of these gadgets work really well with that. The RC car works pretty great with it. But sometimes you get like the hovering thing that I had. And then it is spotty. So it's like you have to kind of, in order to use the hovering thing, you have to rotate the analog stick like this really quickly. But if you're in mid-jump, you might miss a jump and die because it didn't register quick enough for you. So I found situations like that. The slingback shooter, which is the slingshot, you could use on the fly with that, but it didn't really work all that well. The other part of the game I don't really like is the platform. Because when you're exploring and finding apes, it's great. But when you have to do a platforming challenge to get to an ape, that is a pain in the butt. Because you often have to use gadgets to get there, and if the gadgets don't work to get there, you fail the platforming challenge and have to do it again. You either lose a life, or lose health, or get sent back so far. It's a pain. And I love 3D platformers. I'm good at them. I platinum Crash Bandicoot. The controls in this game will often lead to some deaths that you're not going to like. At least in my experience. I don't know. I don't know the game inside and out like somebody else would. But for me, it felt, it really did feel dated. So again, let me get back to this. So what do I think of Ape Escape as a whole? It's so close. So I'm not like hating on the game. I just find the game to be so close. Like I want to love this game a lot. I really do. Everything tells me I should love this game. Fun, cartoony visuals. Goofy Japanese story, right? But then it's marred by some, great soundtrack, right? I love the soundtrack. Soundtrack's probably my favorite part of this game. But all this presentation is marred by this bad writing and the fact that these characters are flat. And again, I'm not expecting the greatest thing, but they could make them a little more lovable, a little more round, something I can attach myself to just a little bit, to care, and I don't. Secondly, this control scheme, man, it's hit or miss, and I just really, I wanted to love it. I wanted to think it was kind of cool. And some parts were kind of cool, but other parts were kind of frustrating. Which leads me to this. So there's going to be rumors, and I think it's going to happen, that Ape Escape has a chance to be remade. Crash Bandicoot remade. Spyro's getting remade, coming out in November. Medieval is in the works to get remade, so that would leave Ape Escape. And next year would be the 20th anniversary. I know some people would love this. I'm not attached to it, so I have no nostalgia for it and understand that's a factor. This, however, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's going to be receptive because of the controls. And if you bring it back, how do you bring it back without doing the old controls? Because that is the part of the game that people have come for, There's a reason we haven't, in the US, seen Ape Escape games since the PlayStation 2. I understand. Ape Escape is a 7.8 out of 10. I'm giving Ape Escape a 7.8 out of 10. So anyways, some announcements. Let me check this note card here. Make sure I didn't forget anything. All right. So as I said, Ape Escape I'm giving a 7.8 out of 10. But if you want a really thorough written review that doesn't make me sound like an idiot like I am now, you can go to Yeah, I Play Video Games on the internet. You can go on that internet thing and go to Yeah, I Play Video Games, type that in, and there you will find a written review of Ape Escape. I've partnered with them. My good buddy Mike is running that site, and he's going to do more modern takes about news and video games and some reviews on current stuff that's going on, that stuff you should care about. I'm going to do stuff that really doesn't matter all that much. But I thought, he wanted me to partner up with him, so I'm going to do some retro reviews on there, maybe some fun top 10s, maybe some other op-ed pieces. I don't know why we're working together, to be quite honest, but he wants me to do it, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. That's fine. So you can go to Yeah, I Play Video Games. Check out the site for any type of reviews of current events in video games and pop culture if you're interested in that. And if you want, maybe take a look at some reviews incoming your way. The first one that I'll be throwing out there is Ape Escape. Anyways, guys, hope you have a great night. See you next time. Bye.